today, single largest protest day in U.S. history. 7 million people came out. 7 million. Folks, you've joined us on a Saturday night. Allison Gill is here. She literally just got home. I have to confess, I feel somewhat guilty. Already confessed to Allison that I knew she was out there protesting all day. I know that she was tired. And knowing Allison, I said, maybe if I send her a message asking her to jump on with me, she'll say yes. Of course, I knew she'd say yes. So I was also hoping that she wouldn't respond. But then she said yes. And then to make it even worse, she's like, yeah, but I think I might get home at your 10 p.m. Is that too late? I'm like, I'm a freak. I'll be up, even though I was traveling all day. And then being Allison, Nerdmaster 2000, she's like, I'm actually home earlier. Talk to me now. So Allison was in my home state of California. She's in LA. I'm from the Bay. And she was just informing me right now. Wait.
San Diego.
Oh, San Diego. My bad. San Diego. Sorry. No disrespect to the people in San Diego, which I was told by Anchorman means a whale's vagina.
Yes.
Yeah. But there were so many people out in
Which
San
is
Diego.
Donald Trump's neck.
Yeah. I call it the neck vagine. And now that we know it as the neck vagine, I hope he keeps Pete Hegseth away from it, because I don't know. Good luck to Donald Trump's neck. Good luck. Folks, it's one of those days. It's a good day because Allison was telling me, I was just confirming with her because I was reading it, but I wanted confirmation that today, single largest protest day in U.S. history. 7 million people came out. 7 million. For those who don't know, the first No Kings rally was 5 million. And Alice and I were hoping, we're like, all right, if we could get from 5 to 7, the next one, there will be a next one because Trump is going to get worse. We'll talk about all of it, to 9. And then, folks, to 11.5. And Allison, tell them what happened. Tell them why 11.5 is the magic number, please.
I believe, I can't remember who said it, but if you can get 3.5% of the people out on the streets protesting peacefully, as we did today, then no regime can withstand that number, and none has. So that's kind of why we're looking at 11.5 million. And that's if you're including like everyone in the United States, as well, not just people of voting age. So really, maybe 9 or 10 will do it, but we're looking for that 11.5 million. But I will say this, the protest on January 6th, there were about 40 or 50,000 people at the Ellipse that day, and about 2,500 entered the Capitol, and it resulted in 1,500, maybe 1,600 arrests. Today in DC alone, there were over 200,000 people. Zero arrests by the NPD. So not only were there 4 times as many people at least, but there was 0 arrests. We had 0 in San Diego, none in Austin, none in New York, none in Chicago. These were peaceful protests. And so, tell me again which side is violent. Tell me again which side
we all know
are terrorists.
I mean, or Antifa. You had George Conway, of all people, wearing a T-shirt saying "I am Antifa." You had the Grantifa Brigade, grandmas and grandpas who probably claim to be Grantifa. You had the Frog Brigade, Frog Tifa, came out strong in Portland. And I think that's a very important point. The fact that it was so peaceful, the fact that overwhelmingly what I saw all across was a lot of joy, a lot of humor, a lot of mirth, a lot of snark, people dressed in costumes. People in Portland were rollerblading at night. People who were old, young, different ethnicities, different professions. The sign game, Allison, was on point. What were some of the best signs that you saw in San Diego?
There were a lot of Nussi signs, which is which was great. A lot of Epstein file signs. Of course, in San Diego, we're right on the border. So a lot of it had to do with ICE, and a lot of our the Mexican pride that we have here in San Diego, which is always wonderful to see. We also had an incredible blessing of the land and a permission to use the land by the Kumeyaay tribe of indigenous people, and that was pretty incredible. Little Wolf played this incredible music to honor the land and give the blessing. So that was really, really superb. But some other good signs. I can't believe you make me agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene
I saw that.
with a bunch of flames was a really good one. I saw that. But I think my favorite is when people have their dogs wear signs like "I'm smarter than the president" or whatever the dog sign is. Like, and then of course he's so bad that the introverts are here is another good one.
In San Diego, how long was the march? How long did it go for? How many people did you have?
We had some speakers from about 10 to 10:30. We marched from about 10:30 to 12:30. And the numbers are all over the place. I know that the police department said we had 60,000 plus in June, but it was more like 75. I was there on the ground. There were more people in this one. But the early numbers are lower than the June numbers. But I think that might be because that's coming out of the Sinclair-owned affiliates down here in San Diego. Although we do have a Scripps-owned affiliate, but I haven't seen what they're reporting as the numbers. So it's real hard to pin down, but it was massive. It was more people on the ground, and I know there were more people on the ground because I know where the start was and where the end was, and that we were packed in like sardines and walking a lot slower than we were in June. So, and by the way, I didn't see one single. I saw one harbor police officer in their car because we had two cruise ships docked that were blowing their horns for us, and everybody was out on the decks waving. And so the harbor police was there, but they're there when the cruise ships are in harbor. But I didn't see any other police. I saw no ICE, at least where I was, for the entire route. And we had no incidents. We had no vandalism, no violence, no arrests, no nothing. Everybody was amazingly peaceful and kind and just kind of showing off their amazing inflatable animal outfits and signs. And it was really a wonderful, wonderful time. And, the June No Kings fueled me to this No Kings, and this one will fuel me until the one I imagine we're going to be having in the spring.
Yeah, and I think the juxtaposition that you started off with, I think is very important. Here you have the majority of Americans across ethnicities, even in red states, even in some red communities. You had the villages come out, say no kings. Donald Trump, the latest poll numbers, folks, he's at 37. He went down 37. He's only 10 months in. The only person who has had such a low favorability rating in the first year of his presidency was Donald Trump in the first administration. He's now negative 20 plus points on the economy. He's a negative, I think it was 17 on inflation, negative 11 on immigration. Last week, when they did a poll at CNN.
Wajahat, I'm number one and number two. Thank you.
I'm number one and number two. Warbalat. Is that your name? Warbalat. Get an American name. Warbalat. These American names are too tough for me. Even though I married Melania.
I love that Aziz Ansari. Do you know him? Tell him I said hello.
Yeah, tell Aziz I said hello. Folks, he's underwater. He's going, and furthermore, I don't know if you saw, Allison, I think, because you were busy doing all this stuff. There is a massive drip coming with the Epstein files. So ahead of Virginia Giuffre's memoir dropping this week, folks, we're going to connect the dots, but it's a big news. Virginia Giuffre allegedly killed herself earlier this year. She wrote a memoir. She was a 17-year-old girl whose father worked at Mar-a-Lago. She was working as a spa attendant where she was poached and groomed by Glenn Maxwell on the promises that, Jeffrey Epstein would help make her career in spa therapy. She then said that she was passed around like a platter of fruit. And one of the men that she named was Prince Andrew. Well, a couple of days ago, folks, Prince Andrew was stripped of his title. I don't know if you've been paying attention, everyone, but yesterday, a great piece came out, which they're talking about in the Miami Herald, which has been doing just fantastic work about. No, actually, today, a piece came out in New York Times about Louis Black, the massive funder in the New York Times, about why was Louis Black giving millions upon millions of dollars to Jeffrey Epstein? He's still alive, by the way. So is Leslie Wexner, the former CEO of Victoria's Secret, who, randomly just gave Jeffrey Epstein a $70 million townhouse, Allison, as one does. And then furthermore, this big piece came out. This is the piece I was talking about in the Miami Herald, where can't make this stuff up, folks. It's so gross that the prosecutor, attorney Anthony, I want to get his name right.
Alex Acosta.
No, Alex, no, this is another one. I don't know if you saw this too today.
Oh.
Attorney Matthew Menchel, one of the prosecuting attorneys, basically partied with Epstein, met with Epstein, skied with Epstein, had dinners with top Florida prosecutor on his case, documents show. All of this stuff is coming out. And I think as this stuff comes out, I've said it before, I've said it again, Allison, one of his two Achilles cankles is the Epstein files and also the economy, which means that when we get the next No Kings rally, we're going to get more people. But on the flip side, as he gets more and more desperate, which he has, you're going to see him do more and more outlandish, desperate shit, like pardon George Santos and then openly say the reason why he's pardoning him is because he was a loyal Republican. Your take?
Yeah, well, I think it's Leon Black. Louis Black.
Leon Black, not Louis Black, the comedian. Leon Black. Sorry, folks.
That would be breaking news. Yeah, he $150 million or something like that. But it was about time, I thought, for Prince Andrew, the Duke, to renounce his title. I just kept thinking of Coming to America in my head. He's like, I renounce my throne. I renounce my throne in Zamunda. Does this make you happy?
Does this make you happy? The arches. It's different. It's different. That movie's awesome.
But not only that, not only do we get at the skiing thing with the attorney and we also got additional Epstein files from the Epstein estate that were handed over to the Oversight Committee. Remember, they got 8,500 pages and they had only released about 6 of them in emails back and forth that showed lunch with Steve Bannon and lunch with Peter Thiel. This showed phone calls between Epstein and Trump, and it showed more lunches with, Woody Allen, but Peter Thiel, more lunches with Peter Thiel, Zuckerberg, and then some other billionaire.
Wasn't Musk? This is post conviction. Musk is also in the files, and this is post sweetheart deal bullshit deal that he got in 2007 that allowed Epstein to literally continue raping girls.
Right, exactly. So those additional pages came out. It's not all of them. They're letting them go little by little, and the government doesn't have to be open, and we don't need to swear in Adelita Grijalva to keep releasing that tranche of 8,500 pages of files from the Epstein estate. But now we see Mike Johnson move the goalposts again. And first it was like, I will swear in Adelita Grijalva on October 14th at first he said when we get back into session on October 7th. Then he changed that to October 14th, saying that's when the official results come out. We got the official results on October 14th. And now he's saying that, no, we're going to keep it shut down because the Republicans are doing work in their districts. No, they're not. No, they aren't.
We have nothing. The House has nothing on the docket for October, folks. Nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they like it that way. They don't want to swear in Adelita Grijalva. So I think the Attorney General in Arizona, Chris Mays, is about to file a suit, if she hasn't filed a lawsuit already, to have the court order him to swear her in, because I don't think anybody else can swear her in. It's not like, we can just have AOC do it, or Nancy Pelosi because she's the emeritus speaker, or we can't have the minority leader swear her in. It has to be the Speaker of the House, because that's the House rules, and the Republicans control the House rules. So for them to be like, oh, we can't do anything. That's a complete and total lie. So yes, the Achilles cankles include the Epstein files, and they're going to continue to keep coming out. because they have that tranche, they have that stack sitting there, and they don't have to have the government open to release them. They just did it this weekend. So we also had a Wall Street Journal story. Ghislaine Maxwell is getting high-profile mystery visitors, causing the whole place to be locked down and pissing off the other rich assholes who were there because they're supposed to be there enjoying life in Club Fed, and they keep getting
we
locked.
we don't know who those high-profile visitors were. That's another big scandal.
Nope, no idea. And, a lot of folks think, and I think I might be on this train too, that the George Santos pardon is a prelude to a Ghislaine Maxwell pardon.
I'm on that train too.
We're going to keep our eye on that. But I think he knows that if he pardons Ghislaine Maxwell, that's just going to bring, it's going to rain shit on his head, because he's trying to leave the Epstein files in the past, and that would obviously bring them right back up to the surface again. So I don't know.
Can I respond to that? Why I think he'd do it is, number one, when he was asked last week about pardoning her, he said, "Ghislaine who? Haven't heard that name in a long time. What? Huh?" And then when he was asked, "Are you going to pardon her or not?" Folks, listen, take him literally and seriously. Should have said, "Of course not. She's a pedophile. She helped rape girls with Jeffrey Epstein, a man I barely knew. Why would I ever pardon her?" He kept it open. He didn't say no. And the
He
second
might
thing
actually not remember who she is. He is not well. He might actually be like, "I don't know anything about whatever you're talking about. Hello, could someone give me a hint?"
I think he's like Weekend at Bernie's right before Bernie died. I think they're propping him up with formaldehyde. Folks, I'm not kidding about this. I think like Allison said, I do not think he's well at all. You just have to look at the evidence of your eyes and your ears. And because of that, because I think he has zero F's left to give, because he's a desperate cornered rat. If I'm Ghislaine and I realize I have the goods on him, why not pressure him? And if George Santos got a pardon, I'll be like, I just drip something else. I'm open to the fact that this man will pardon Ghislaine Maxwell to protect himself from more stuff coming out, because I do believe what we have seen, Allison, is very coordinated, and well done to the Democrats. I give credit where credit's due. The drip that is coming out, folks, right before Virginia Giuffre's memoir, which is being published this week, if I recall. Prince Andrew is stripped of his titles. Should have happened years ago for him, raping girls. But this memoir is coming out. He can't escape from it. Number two, this huge New York Times piece that should have been written years ago that I believe either came out today or yesterday. I just posted in the chat about not Lewis Black, but Leon Black. Leon Black, of course, as you know, a big time a private equity guy who, for some strange reason, gave Epstein just millions upon millions of dollars to advise him on his Apollo Global Management, even though, Epstein was a college dropout. I wonder why. I would like the other one to be done about Leslie Wexner, the former CEO of, I think still CEO of Victoria's Secret, who gave Epstein the $70 million townhouse, the most expensive, beautiful prime real estate in Manhattan, for free, as one does, Allison. And then also this piece that I just posted that came out yesterday, the fantastic Julie Brown of Miami Herald, who's just been on this for years, going after the attorney. This piece was Matthew Menchel, Miami's U.S. Attorney Office Chief Criminal Prosecutor, who spearheaded Epstein's sweetheart deal. Documents show he was chilling with Epstein, just having dinners with him, and which is totally normal. Totally normal, Allison, right? The special prosecutor just sitting there chilling with a pedophile and giving him a sweetheart deal.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, by the way, in this recent tranche of documents the House Oversight just released is a transcript of an interview with Alex Acosta where he admits that was a bad deal.
He did. I didn't catch that. He's never ever admitted that before. He's always made excuses.
Said, yeah, no, that wasn't good. It wasn't a good deal. Specifically for the survivors. But you got to understand, there is, I am sure, an insane amount of pressure on Donald Trump to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell. And that pressure is brought by Ghislaine Maxwell and what she knows and what she has. In fact, I'm about 80% certain that she was leaking that stuff to the Wall Street Journal. The original, story of the drawing of the naked form of the woman before we had actually seen the actual drawing of it, and things like that. and the rest of the birthday book, I think she was leaking that and saying, give me a pardon or I'm going to keep leaking. And maybe Todd Blanche was like, look, we can't pardon you. We're trying to make the Epstein files go away. We have to actually oppose your appeal to the Supreme Court. And that was delayed twice, by the way. So I think they were negotiating that as well. We have to oppose that. And we can't pardon you now, but we can maybe later when he's really super sick or leaving office or whatever. So in the meantime, we'll waive your sex offender status and send you to Club Fed and put you ahead of all these other people who are on a waiting list to get into a facility like that. And I don't know if she's taken the deal or you can't like sign a contract for that, right? What are you you can't enforce that, right? Because you got to come to the court with clean hands. So you can't, that's illegal. So it's just a wink, wink, nod, nod kind of a deal. But now maybe she's like, you know what? I'm getting tired of it here.
There you go.
I want my pardon. And so mystery high profile guests are coming and locking down the Bryan facility. And she's, again, wagging around stuff that she might release to the Wall Street Journal or the Miami Herald to put more pressure on Trump to pardon her. So we've got here's the way I see it. We've got Trump doing his best to not pardon her now, for now at least, giving her all the favors that he is allowed to give her. Meanwhile, she's pushing and will continue, I think, to leak things to the press.
Yep.
Until he relents. If he relents. He might think that these leaks are less damaging than pardoning her. Maybe Blanche is the one who's negotiating all this and it's his decision. But that's what I think is happening right now. Any leaks that, I could be totally wrong. This is all speculation. But she holds the cards, man.
Yep. I'm with you. And this is why I keep circling around this, folks. You're like, what's next? I'm telling you all, I've been saying it for a while, and I feel very strongly about this. The main Achilles cankles for Donald Trump. He cannot escape this, and now the Republican Party cannot escape this, folks. And so for this is, okay, we had 7 million people come out today. And I'm just thinking strategically, how can you weaken this fascist regime that is playing for all the marbles? They have revealed the plot. Yeah, last week, when he could have and should have said, I will not pardon her, he kept the door open. You know what he also kept the door open to? Using the Insurrection Act. So he echoed Stephen Miller, and then a couple of days ago, Pam Bondi said what? Insurrection Act. Speaking about Venezuela, we've been talking about Venezuela a lot on this show because we've said that watch this space as he's attacking these Venezuela drug smugglers. There's no evidence of it. They're going to use that as a pretext to connect it to domestic terrorists, which are apparently the 7 million people who came out, right? Because Caroline Levitt, Blonde Barbie, she said all of us who came out, the 7 million, were Hamas terrorists. Let me get it right. Hamas terrorists, violent terrorists, illegal aliens. Pam Bondi said last week that they're going to do to us and anti-fascists and terrorists what they did to these Venezuelan boats. Well, what have they done to these Venezuelan boats with 5 strikes, Allison? Oh, they have blown them up without any due process or evidence. And now you saw that there were actually, for the first time, survivors. And instead of trying these survivors, Allison, they're just kind of hiding them away right now. This is big news, folks. Why? Because there has been no evidence whatsoever that these these 24 nearly fishermen are drug smugglers. No evidence has been released. That means most likely the Trump administration has straight up murdered people without any due process and has said, I have the right as the president to engage in extrajudicial assassination. It's so bad that even Rand Paul's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. We don't give the president of the United States that much power. Folks, Rand Paul on this and another issue is sounding like me, which makes me terrified. It's like that sign that someone said that, like, why am I agreeing with Marjorie Taylor Greene? This is horrible. Rand Paul said it. Ed Whelan said it today. If you know him, he's a conservative who, helped pack the Supreme Court. Even he said, this is weird that they don't want to, publicly try these people and they're keeping hush-hush about these survivors. I think it's because, Allison, they know that they have no authority, that they have probably killed people without due process. And when Pam Bondi is telling us we're going to do to these terrorists, which is, by the way, folks, all of us. Don't take my word for it. Caroline Leavitt said, right? The Democrats, they're Hamas terrorists, violent terrorists, and illegal aliens. Her words. What are they going to do to the rest of us? Oh, yeah, bomb us, blow us up, and use the Insurrection Act. And they would rather do that, Allison, than release the Epstein files. They would rather shut the government down than release the Epstein files. They would rather come up with all these excuses than swear in Adelita Grijalva, who's been waiting for 3 weeks. That's how desperate I think he is, not only to distract and punt from his failures, but also to hide the Epstein files and also march towards forever rule, which, as we know, he has said because he is literally hawking 2028 hats. If I'm being hyperbolic, fill in the blanks, take me off the ledge. I can't hear you. No.
I think I was muted. Sorry. I don't think you're being hyperbolic at all. I think we're going to get blamed. Antifa is going to get blamed for helping Venezuela smuggle the drugs in. Watch.
Fentanyl. Fentanyl, they said. Because that's how fentanyl comes in.
It's an emergency. All of our weed, right? Even though we grow it here, is probably going to be all of a sudden coming from Venezuela. Did you hear about the CIA? This is something that I was warning about and talking to you about, that they had the DOJ and the Pentagon, but in order to get cleanly around the War Powers Act, they wanted to do CIA covert ops in Venezuela. But the CIA wouldn't greenlight that. So Michael Ellis, the deputy director of the CIA, installed himself, Michael Ellis, as the general counsel of the CIA.
Of course.
And then, poof, all of a sudden, the CIA is legally greenlit to do covert ops in Venezuela, which completely circumvents Congress and the War Powers Act and takes us back to like Abu Ghraib black site type shit. So that's happening. Although covert ops are a little less covert when you announce that you're going to do it. Then we have today, we had to shut down parts of the Interstate 5 between Los Angeles and San Diego because Donald Trump wanted the Navy to fire Tomahawk missiles into Camp Pendleton to celebrate the Marine Corps 250th birthday of the Marine Corps. Now, watch what happened, because we didn't get the big booms. We didn't get the Tomahawks. I think what they had was land-to-land howitzer demonstrations, which are very different from, sea-to-land Tomahawk demonstrations. Somebody told him and JV Dance, Mr. Couchfucker, you can't fire Tomahawk missiles into California from the Navy at sea. You can't do that. Again, this is all speculation. But somebody said no. Even after he's fired all the people he doesn't like in the military and replaced them with, I don't know, those guys from Texas with the mustaches and that was National Guard. But regardless, he's trying to get everybody out of the military that's too woke and won't do what he wants. But somebody, I think somebody said, no, we're not going to do that. We'll do a howitzer and not over the 5 freeway. And let's see who gets fired this week from.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because it was really scary news that I'm like, what the hell are they openly talking about firing missiles off the coast of California during No King's Rally? They were, folks. That was a report that came out. Thank God.
It was no different than him doing a military flyover during the Epstein press conference. And in fact, when I was speaking at No Kings in San Diego, there was an awfully large amount of C-130s taking off from North Island, more than usual. Those are big, loud ass planes. And it just was one after the other while we're, trying to speak and get ready to go march. I think that he was trying for a show of force.
There you go.
Against No Kings. This is what I'm capable of if you're going to rise up against me.
That's exactly it. It was a chilling effect that thankfully didn't work. Everything so far has been a chilling effect.
The opposite effect.
And look, let's go back a month, folks. You think you're whiter than Jimmy Kimmel? You think you're more popular than him? You think you're more wealthy than him? Well, look what I'm going to do to Jimmy Kimmel. Who are you? And what it did instead is it animated people and said, that's a step too far. And then we led with our economic boycott, and Disney still loves the color green more than the color white. They have tried their best to unleash ICE agents to terrorize us in Chicago, in Portland, in LA, folks. And guess what? People are now increasingly resisting. They tried yesterday. Take them literally and seriously, folks. They're using the word terrorist. The National Security Presidential Memo 7, I had Ken Klippenstein on here. The fact that rhetoric and thoughts are now deemed as indicators of left-wing terrorism. If you criticize Christianity or criticize ICE, they're trying to exert pressure upon universities, and essentially rein in their First Amendment right and not teach or say anything that might, belittle conservatives. And thankfully, now we have 3 universities that have said no. The first one was MIT. The second one was Brown, and now we have UPenn. Today was all about we're going to crush you, crush you, crush you. Guess what? 7 million people came out of the 2,100 people are watching us. Allison said 0 arrests in LA. 0 arrests in DC. There were about 200,000 people here. 0 arrest in Portland. 0 arrest in Chicago. And folks, guess what? Adelita Grijalva, slowly but surely, now Democrats are like, maybe we should make a public show out of this. And now many people are asking, yeah, this lady just won for 3 weeks. How come you just don't swear her in? Oh, well, the government shut down. Then even Jake Tapper, was roused from sleep. Him and his Axios co-author, instead of shitting on Democrats, he asked Mike Johnson a couple of days ago, you can just do it pro forma. You've done it before. Well, what's the hesitation? And Mike Johnson's like, I have to watch porn with my son. I'm Christian. There's no excuse. And more, as you connect it all, folks, it's like, oh, Adelita Grijalva, she'll give the 218th vote for this bipartisan effort by Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie, even Marjorie Taylor Greene now, Nancy Mace. I think Boebert is also in there to vote to release the Epstein files. And now Marjorie Taylor Greene, folks, as of last week, is blaming her own party for the shutdown. She went on CNN and blamed Mike Johnson. Cut. There's too many cuts. There's too many holes in the hull. He's leaking. But as he's leaking, my fear is he will go all in on Project 2025, which was supposed to be a 4-year plan, and he's going to make it into a 1-year plan. Folks, regime change in Venezuela was part and parcel of Project 2025, and for those who are witnessing, what's been happening in Venezuela after the latest strike, the 5th strike, without due process, without evidence, some of the family members of the people who were killed in the first strike said they weren't drug smugglers, they were fishermen. Which means, again, I want to stress this again. This means most likely the Trump administration straight up murdered innocent people. There were survivors for the first time. Instead of trying them, you know what this administration did today? I think it was yesterday, excuse me. Repatriated them. Sent them back to the country. Nothing to see here, folks. So if Pam
their
Bondi,
mouths shut.
yeah, like, oh, yeah, bye, peace out, don't ever come back. And Pam Bondi said she's going to do the rest of us what they did to those Venezuelan fishermen. So I take this literally. I take this seriously. You have Budget Goebbels, Pee Wee German, Minnie Himmler, 4'10" Pee Wee German Stephen Miller, who has this hard-on to blow up Mexico. Olivia Troy and Miles Taylor said that to me. They said there were 2 different meetings and 2 different conversations in the first Trump administration where Stephen Miller expressed his dream of bombing Mexico and Latin America. Now you have them going after Venezuela. You have them connecting Venezuela, drug smugglers, Tendra Aragua, to Antifa. Antifa is now a terrorist organization. Apparently, all of us, the 7 million who came out, were either Hamas terrorists or terrorists today. What does this administration do to terrorists? It kills us and blows us up without due process, which is why I think now that No Kings was such a success and the Epstein files drip, especially leading up to Virginia Giuffre's memoir, which is coming out Tuesday, I expect this administration to get even more desperate. And a sign of that desperation, and I do think this is connected, Allison, where it's all speculation, but we're making very educated guesses here, connecting the dots. George Santos, he pardoned him, which is Donald Trump is saying, you be a loyal soldier. I don't give a shit how it looks. I'll pardon you. And I do think that pardon's coming from Maxwell. So we've teed it up now. Now we've seen what we're dealing with, Allison. Let's just predict. What do you think is going to happen this next week with the Trump administration post No Kings?
Well, I think they're going to try to indict maybe Adam Schiff or Jack Smith or something. They keep going down that road, even though they keep failing. Multiple Department of Justice attorneys are like, I'm not doing that peace out. We saw just a couple to this week in the last couple of days from the Western District of Virginia and the Eastern District of Virginia. Although I do think the indictment against John Bolton it's sticky. I think he's in trouble.
Interesting.
That wasn't written by like a Lindsay Halligan. That was written by like career prosecutors, and multiple people signed it. And it's a well written indictment. We'll see how well he does. He's got Abby Lowell as an attorney, so maybe he'll be okay. But the Trump administration has been going after Venezuela since the first administration. You remember the failed incursion and Rudy Giuliani meeting with Brian Benchkowski and Bill Barr at the DOJ to give pardons to their Venezuelan buddies who were going to help overthrow the regime. Like, they've been at this for a while, and Rudy's a big player in that. Like, if you feel like going down a rabbit hole, everybody, you can look up Brian Benchkowski, Rudy Giuliani, and Venezuela. All you ever wanted to know about those three things, but were afraid to ask during the first Trump administration is pretty wild. So, I think when all the things come together and we look at this, with the totality of the evidence, is that, first they came for the immigrants, and I stood up because I know where the rest of the poem is going. It's not going to end there. Just like Putin, it doesn't end with Ukraine, right? So it would be naive to think that Trump will get one thing and then be done and go away quietly. That's not how tyranny works. That's not how despots operate. It's not how authoritarians do things. So this week, I mean, it's hard to look in the short term. It's easier to look in the longer term. But he is desperate. Like you said, his approval ratings in the tank, and the Epstein files are slowly coming out, and 7 million people just turned out. Stephen Miller's going to crank up the energy here, and I think we are going to be looking at an invocation of the Insurrection Act, maybe not this week, but soon, or some other emergency power. I know that he's talked about suspending habeas corpus. I think that would come after an invocation of the Insurrection Act.
Yep.
But that's the path we're on, to invoke the Insurrection Act so he can detain Antifa members without due process and then suspend habeas corpus. So I think that's the path. And
I agree. We've been warning about it. I agree.
We just have to keep showing up.
And he's in panic mode. It's both distraction and the end game. They're playing for permanent power, folks. And then we haven't even talked about the Supreme Court, which is going to get the Voting Rights Act and essentially help Republicans gerrymander and pick up at least 12 states. That's going to happen. John Roberts has dreamt about this since he was in college, folks. He's had a wet dream to destroy the Voting Rights Act, specifically the second section. It's inevitable, especially if you've heard just what they've said in the oral arguments a couple of days ago. So that's going to happen, plus the gerrymandering, plus the fact that they're going after mail-in ballots, plus, as Allison said, all of this is violent intimidation, plus the pardoning. I think we are looking at the invocation of the Insurrection Act, and I believe we're looking at martial law. So inshallah, if we have that third protest, they're going to make sure they do anything and everything in their power not to get that third protest. So in addition to the protest, we have to use every leverage at our disposal to weaken this regime. Like, I'm talking about everything: shaming, mockery, boycotts, economic boycotts. It's going to get worse before it gets better. I hope I'm wrong. I don't think I am. I think there's generational damage. It's going to take our generation to help plant the seeds that, inshallah, future generations can benefit from. I don't think people realize how much damage they've already done. And a cornered rat, which is what Trump is a violent rat. And I think he'll chew through anything and everything and everyone to stay alive, even though he's barely alive. But
he's shown that to us when he couldn't get his way and have the electors thrown out by Mike Pence. He sent an angry mob to the Capitol to murder the vice president. He has shown us that when he is desperate, he turns to violence. So anyway.
But there's more of us than there are of them. We can end on a positive note.
Kings was so important. That's why this was so important this weekend, that we showed up, we showed out, we did it peacefully. We didn't beat officers with flagpoles.
No
we
smearing
had a
shit on the
blast.
Capitol. No smearing shit
No,
on the Capitol. No assassination attempts of politicians. Huh, shocking.
I didn't see any
Fraud costumes.
nooses.
And the fact, folks, that there's more leaking, and the fact that they're being exposed, and the fact they're not even hiding it, because these people are very self-destructive. They are reckless, as we've said. Many of them are incompetent. Many of them are drunk with power. And when you get power, what happens? You also become lazy, and they're also petty mother effers. And so we saw that Politico article that had 2,900 pages of Telegram leaks, that was leaked by a pissed off young Republican who had a personal grievance with one of the master race people. I think the guy who said he loves Hitler or rape. And you're going to see more of this backstabbing happening. Pete Hegseth, the reports are he's getting more manic. He's worried about leaks. You see Dan Bongino. He doesn't like Pam Bondi. You're seeing JD Vance getting a little bit big for his britches. You see Donald Trump. He wants to make sure that people are loyal. So let them fight, divide and conquer. Marjorie Taylor Greene sees where the wind is blowing. She realizes, okay, this dude might not last long. I want to capture enough of the independents and other folks, because I realize the economic agenda is so toxic. I have to carve out certain lanes for myself. Tucker Carlson, America First lane here. Thomas Massey, another lane here. Let them fight. Our job is to divide and conquer. Our job is to organize. Our job is to march. Our job is to do economic boycotts and have our eyes wide open. And our job is also to support truth tellers, people who are doing the good work, the anti-Jake tappers, people like Allison Gill, who are willing to join me, even though she's exhausted, even though I was. Yeah, I just forgot. I came from Houston today, so I'm exhausted too. But I felt like I had to do my part because I couldn't march, so I had to do something. So I brought in Allison. So Allison is, you know her, you love her. It's the Breakdown Mueller. She wrote.com. She also is the co-host of the Daily Beans podcast. She also now does videos for Midas. How can people support you, Allison?
Yeah, I would love it if you would show up tomorrow and watch me live on the Midas Touch live channel at 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern. That would be the best gift in the world if you could show up and watch that. Now it'll be available after that, obviously, but I would love to have you there live. It's so much fun when it just shows up live. Our last show has about 1 million views, which is just kind of unheard of. It's like more than most cable shows combined. So I appreciate you showing up and
It's more
and
than the Free
watching.
Press, which was bought for 150 million. So maybe someone should give you, I don't know, 50 million. Maybe you should run
Yeah.
CBS.
Well, as soon as I collect my protest paycheck, then I'll
Yes,
be
yes,
able to
yes.
see where I'm at
From
financially.
Soros. From Soros, of
But
course.
seriously, folks, all we have to do is to keep showing up and standing strong, because they underestimate us. They think we're going to break. They think we're going to give up. They think we're going to go away. All we got to do is not go away. That's it.
That's it. There's too many of us. There's like I said, I gave a speech. And I said the biggest mistake America made was letting us brown people in. You made a mistake, America. Once we're in, we just multiply. We bring in our grandparents, our aunts, our dads, our kids. The whole family, the whole generation comes, and we make America more delicious. It's over. See, they already lost. They don't realize they've already lost. I'm talking about the white supremacists. But the thing is, they're having a temper tantrum, and the death rattle has turned into a death march, and they're willing to burn everything and anyone, including themselves, just to feel great again, which is why they're such a danger. But the game is already done, because there's too many of us, too many white people, too many black people, too many brown people, too many Asian people who say no to hate, to kings, to fascists, and to white supremacists. But they're not going to go down without a fight. But there's more of us, folks. We ain't going to go down without a fight either. There's 2,500 people watching us. Thank you so much. For those who tuned in late, it'll be up on my Substack and Allison's Substack in about 30 minutes. This is the left hook. There are no paywalls. There are also no paywalls for Allison, because, like me, she's a terrible capitalist. We might be fools, but we want to help people stay informed. If you can become a paid subscriber, that just helps us live, literally not die. So give some money to Allison. If you have a few bucks left over, I have like 800 kids and now 3 cats. Let me feed 1 cat and 1 child. I also have a YouTube channel, which I should promote. It's called @YouTube with Lee, and I have this really talented woman in Pakistan now, like she just saw me and she's like, your videos are so terrible. Let me help. So now they're like nice and she does all this work. So if you want to catch it there, it's all free as well. But folks, be kind to each other, rest up, heal. And today was some good news. We have to brace ourselves for what Trump is going to do because he's desperate and he's cornered. And today there were 7 million people who came out. It was a record. They are worried. I know they're worried because if they weren't worried, they wouldn't try to call us Hamas terrorists, illegal aliens, or threaten to fire missiles from the coast of California during the march. They are deeply threatened, which is a good sign. Don't bend the knee. Don't be bullied. There's more of us than there are of them. Allison, thanks so much for joining, even though you're so tired. Everyone else, take care of yourself. Have a good Sunday, rest, and don't be a fascist. Thank you, Allison.
Thanks, Waj.
Bye.